Okay, let's discuss the part that we've covered. So in this chapter, we read that an American prisoner of war was washed ashore on the doorsteps of a Japanese doctor and his wife. And after thinking a lot and after undergoing a lot of confusion that was there in their mind, they finally took him inside, and the doctor operated upon him and his wife, Anna. She held and she administered anesthesia to him. Okay, even though she was not a professional, she had never done it before, but still she did it for the sake of the doctor. And the servants, they retaliated, they protested, and they even decided to leave the household, even though they were working there for the last so many years. But still, because the owners, their master and the mistress, they were not relenting, and they were not ready to hand over the prisoner of war to the police. So they decided to leave the household. And after 7 days, there were two things that had happened, and those two things were, number one, the servants left the household, and number two was a messenger came. And Hannah was very terrified, because she felt that the messenger had come to take Dr. Sadao away, and hand him over to. She felt that he would be arrested, and this was where we left the other day, I guess. Is that all the? Oh, Hannah breathed. Is that all? All, the messenger exclaimed. Is it not enough? So this was where we left, I guess. Let me see if I can share the screen. People keep on coming in, joining in. Let me just see. Yes. Is it not enough? Indeed it is, she replied. I'm very sorry. When Sadao came to say goodbye, she was in the kitchen but doing nothing. The children were asleep, and she sat merely resting for a moment, more exhausted from her fright than from her work. I thought they had come to arrest you, she said. I think we've done this also. We had discussed it the other day. He gazed down into her anxious eyes. I must get rid of this man for your sake, he said in distress. So he was very sad, and he was dejected, and he was, very upset that his wife had to go through so much of anxiety and tension because of this man who was their enemy. And he says, somehow I must get rid of him. And Sadao goes to see the general. Of course, the general said weakly, I understand fully, but this is because I once took a degree in Princeton, so few Japanese have. So the doctor discloses each and everything, all the details to the general of the army. And the general, because Sadao was indispensable for him, he was so essential for him. So he says he was very weak at that time, and he needed Dr. Sadao badly. So he said, I understand fully. And he says, why I understand it is not only because you are involved in this, but because I also once I had been to America for quite some time. I care nothing for the man, Excellency, Sadao said, but having operated on him with such success, he says, I have no feelings for him. I don't have any emotional attachment for the man, but then I have operated upon him, and it was such a successful operation. Yes, yes, the general said, it only makes me feel you are more indispensable to me. Evidently, you can save anyone. You are so skilled. You say you think I can stand one more such attack as I have had today, and Sadao says, only one more. Okay, and he says you can have only one more attack, not more than one. Sadao said. Then certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you, the general said with anxiety. His long, pale Japanese face became expressionless, which meant that he was in deep thought. So he felt that if I can stand only one more attack, then that means that you are much more needed now, and I cannot let anything to be happen to you. You cannot be arrested. This is what the general said, closing his eyes. Suppose you were condemned to death, and the next day I had to have my operation. So he's not worried about Sadao. He's not worried about his safety. He's not worried whether he would be condemned to death, he would be arrested or what. Because he's so selfish. He's worried about his own self, and he says, suppose this happens that you are sentenced to death, and the next day I need an operation. Then what would happen to me? There are other surgeons, Excellency, Sadao suggested. None I trust The general replied, the best ones have been trained by Germans and would consider the operation successful even if I died. I do not care for their point of view, he sighed. He says, the best ones, the best doctors in Japan, they have been treated by the Germans, and Germans, they are known for their ruthlessness. They're so cruel, they don't care if anybody lives or dies. Okay, and I do not care for their point of view, he sighed. It seems a pity that we cannot better combine the German ruthlessness with the American sentimentality. So what does he mean to say by this line is he wants to say that the Germans are ruthless and they don't care much about anybody's life, and we need to come, and the Americans on the other hand, they are sentimental, they're emotional people, and they value life. And if we combine the two things together, then it would be better. If we could do that, then you could turn your prisoner over to execution, and yet I could be sure you would not murder me while I was unconscious. So he says, if you have both these elements combined together in you, then he's just cracking a joke here. Okay, the general laughed. He had an unusual sense of humor. As a Japanese, could you not combine these two foreign elements? Which two foreign elements? Which are the two foreign elements that he's talking about here? Can anyone just tell me? Raise your hands. Which are the two foreign elements that he's talking about here?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, he's talking about German ruthlessness and American sentimentality.
Yes, he's talking about the emotional factor that is there in the Americans and the ruthlessness of the Germans. This is what he means to say. If you could combine both these two things together, then it would be great. This is what he means to say. Okay. Sadao smiled. I'm not quite sure, he said, but for your sake, I would be willing to try, Excellency. And he says, I'm not sure whether I would be able to do that, but I will try. And the general shook his head and he said, I had rather not be the test case. So don't just experiment this on me. And he just laughed away, and the conversation ended there. He suddenly felt weak and he felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed with the cares of his life as an official in times such as these. What times are going on? The war is going on, and he felt very emotional. He felt overwhelmed means he was overcome with deep emotions. And when repeated, victory brought great responsibilities all over the South Pacific. So victory, along with victory, you get a lot of responsibilities also. It is very unfortunate, he said at last, that this man should have washed up on your doorstep. He said, he became irritable. He said he should not have landed, he should not have collapsed in front of your doorstep. I feel it so myself, Sadao said gently. It would be best if he could be quietly killed, the general said. Not by you, but by someone who does not know him. I have my own private assassins. He says, I would get him killed. I have my own private killers. Suppose I send 2 of them to your house tonight, or better, any night. You need know nothing about it. It is now warm. What would be more natural than that you should leave the outer partition of the white man's room open to the garden while he sleeps. He says, as it is, the summers are going on, and the days are and the nights are very warm. So what you could do is you could just leave the outer partition of his room open to the garden. So my assassins would come through the garden, they would enter into his room, and they would just kill him. Certainly, it would be very natural, Sadao agreed. In fact, it is so left open every night. So this is the way that we keep it open, because now the days are warm and it is already open every night. Good, the general said, yawning. They are very capable assassins. They make no noise, and they know the trick of inward bleeding. They would not require any help. They would not require any aid, and they are not going to make any noise also. And if you like, I can even have them remove the body. So he says, I can also get the body disposed of. Okay. And Sadao considered, and he said that that perhaps would be best. Why would it be best? Can anyone tell me? That he says that perhaps would be best, Excellency. We're thinking of Hannah. Why would it be best? Yes, why would it be best? Yes, Alam. Alam?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would it be
Ma'am,
best?
it would be best. It would be best because it will be better that Hannah did not see the dead body, as she will have. She will feel real. She would not be able to see the dead body.
Yes, and as it is, she was already so much tensed, and having assassins enter into the house and killing a person and the dead body lying in front of her, that would be too much for her to bear. So that is why he says that it would be better, and it not just better, it would be the best thing. He left. Let's move on to the next page. General's presence then, and went home thinking over the plan. In this way, the whole thing would be taken out of his hands. He would tell Hannah nothing, since she would be timid at the idea of assassins in the house. She would be timid means she would be very, she's not very strong lady. She's very fair. She would be fearful at the idea of killers in the house, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. So what is an absolute state? An absolute state is a state in which you have a dictator. You know, it's a dictatorial, it's an autocratic dictatorial state, which wherein you have a ruler and the ruler has absolute powers. Okay, and opposition of any kind is not tolerated. So Japan is an absolute state. So assassins are required, and why are they required? They are required because if any opposition arrives in at any point of time, then assassins are required to fight that, to curb that opposition. Okay, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. How else could rulers deal with those who oppose them? I've already explained this. He refused to allow anything but reason. So now he's just being practical. He's not being emotional for the white man, and he is just thinking rationally and practically. And he says to be the atmosphere of his mind as he went into the room where the American was in bed. But as he opened the door, to his surprise, he found the young man out of bed and preparing to go into the garden. What is this? He exclaimed. Who gave you permission to leave your room? I am not used to waiting for permission, Tom said gaily. He was very cheerful. He was very happy because he was feeling better. Gosh, I feel pretty good again. But will the muscles on this side always feel stiff? So he's just worried about muscles on the side of his near his back. Is it so? Sadao inquired, surprised. He forgot all else. What do you mean by this? He forgot all else. He forgot everything that he was thinking about. The conversation that he had just had with the general, the thought of assassins coming into his house, killing the American prisoner of war. All these thoughts, they just vanished away from his mind. Now I thought I had provided against that. What had he provided against, and what? What is he talking about? Here, I thought I had provided against that. What does he mean? Can you tell me? Now I thought I had provided against that. Anybody? Gurkamal?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe it is that he has given some medication or something against that.
Yes, he feels that he has already, made provisions against that, so he should not feel that stiffness. He murmured, he mumbled to himself, and he said, he lifted the edge of the man's shirt, gazed at the healing scar. Massage may do it, he said, if exercise does not. He says if exercise doesn't help you in this case, then definitely massage is going to help it out, and the stiffness will go away gradually. It won't bother me much, the young man said. His young face was gaunt under the stubbly blonde beard. His young face was gaunt means his face was very lean, it was very thin under the stubbly. What is stubble? When the face is unshaven, okay, under the unshaven blonde beard. Say, doctor, I've got something I want to say to you. If I hadn't met a Jap like you, well, I wouldn't be alive today. I know that. He says, you are the one, who has saved my life. And if I hadn't come across a person like you, I would have been dead long ago. So now bowed, but he could not speak. Why could he not speak? Because just now he had, made a deal with the general that he's going to have the assassins in his house to kill this white man. Sure, I know that. Tom went on warmly. His big, thin hands gripping a chair were white at the knuckles. So still he was very weak and he was pale. I guess if all the Japs were like you, there wouldn't have been a war. Perhaps, Sadao said with difficulty, and now I think you had better go back to bed. He could not say much because, the thought that he had, asked the general to get in the assassins to kill this man was still there. And they were, weighing heavily in his mind. So that is why he could not say more. And he helped the boy back into bed and then bowed. Good night, he said. Sadao slept badly that night. Why did he sleep badly? Can you tell me the reason? Why was he restless? Why was Sadao restless? Why couldn't he have a peaceful sleep when, when the general had promised that he would send an assassin and the man would be killed and the body would be taken away, it would be disposed of? Then what was the reason? Why couldn't he have a peaceful sleep? Yes, Ronit. Ronit Sen Gupta.
Ma'am, because Sadao just made a deal of the life of the person who's made a deal of the life of the person whose life he just saved.
Yes, he had saved the life of a man, and now he had just made a deal to get him killed. So he was very restless, and moreover, he had a lot of, he was a humanitarian person. He had this humane side in his. Couldn't let him. Please mute yourself. The
Sorry,
talking spree is going on. Mute yourself on it. Okay. So this is what he means to say, and he couldn't sleep peacefully that night. And let me go back to that page again. Yes, he slept badly that night. Time and again he woke, thinking he heard the rustling of footsteps. You understand the meaning of rustling? When you have when the movement of dry leaves, the movement of paper, the sound that comes out of that is rustling. So he heard rustling of footsteps, the sound of a twig broken or a stone displaced in the garden, a noise such as men might make who carried a burden. He felt that the assassins had already come, they had killed the man, and they were carrying the dead body along with them. And this is what his feelings were. The next morning, he made the excuse to go first into the guest room because Hannah knew nothing about it. So he went. He was the first person to enter the white man's room. If the American were gone, then he could simply tell Hannah that so the general had directed. He could simply disclose then that the general had directed and he had taken him away. But when he opened what happened when he opened the door? When he opened the door, he saw at once that there on the pillow was the shaggy blonde head. So the moment he opened the door, the man was there. And he was sleeping, and his shaggy blonde head was on the pillow. What do you understand by shaggy? Shaggy is rough. He could hear the peaceful breathing of sleep, and he closed the door again quietly. He is asleep, he told Hannah. He's almost well to sleep like that. If he's sleeping like that, that means that he has almost recovered. This is what he told his wife. But that meant that the assassins had not come the night earlier. What shall we do with him? Hannah whispered her old refrain. So this was a repetitive query that what are we going to do with this white man? Sadao shook his head. I must decide in a day or two, he promised. He said, I'm going to decide in a day or two, and I promised you that something would be done about this man in less than a day or two. But certainly he thought the second night must be the night. So if the general had failed to send the assassins on the first night, then he thought that this is the night now. There rose a wind that night, and he listened to the sounds of bending boughs and whistling partitions. So he could hear the sounds of the branches. Boughs means here, branches, and partitions were, the movement of the partitions also. Hannah woke up. Ought we not to go and close the sick man's partition? She asked. She said that the partition is always open, but now because the wind is, blowing, so there's a lot of wind blowing outside. So what we should do? We should just close the partition, because he is not that well, he won't be able to get up and he won't be able to do it himself. Let us do it. So, but Sadao said, no, he is able now to do it for himself. He says he's well enough and he's recovered so much, he would be able to do it now. And he knew it that if he would close the partitions, then the assassins are going to face a lot of difficulty entering the room of the white man. But the next morning, the American was still there. And he was so, the next morning, when he went inside his room, he found him still lying there. Then the third night, of course, must be the night. The wind changed to quiet rain, and the garden was full of the sound of dripping eaves and running springs. What are eaves? Eaves means the overhanging edges of the roofs from where the water or rainwater was dripping. Sadao slept a little better, but he woke at the sound of a crash and he just leaped to his feet. There's a sudden noise came and a crashing noise came, and he just jumped to his feet and he got up and he just sat up. Okay, so what happened next? I'm going to read out this page for you because this page is not there. Okay, what was that? Hannah cried. The baby, you should have your books in front of you, and we are doing from page number 43. Okay, it's on page number 43, the first paragraph itself. What was that? Hannah cried. The baby woke at her voice and began to wail. I must go and see. But he held her and would not let her move. Sadao, she cried, what is the matter with you? He did not let her move. Why? Can anyone tell me the reason? Why did he not let her move? Malvika. Malvika?
Ma'am, because the Hannah would be frightened after seeing the assassins.
Yes. And he knew that she would be, if they would
Yeah,
go
ma'am.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, Vishwajit.
Sorry, ma'am. Basically, yes, ma'am. So, ma'am. So basically, basically he stopped her from going out because firstly, as Malvika said that she would be afraid, and the other reason was that also he didn't want that he should die.
There was, subconsciously he didn't want that he should die, but he was waiting for the assassins to come in, because at that point of time he had he couldn't think of any other option. So, and he said his terror infected her and she stood breathless waiting. There was only silence. Together they crept back into the bed and with the baby between them. Yet when he opened the door of the guest room in the morning, there was the young man. Again, even after the third, after spending 3 sleepless nights, the man was still there the next morning. He was very gay, he was very happy, and had already washed and was now on his feet. He had asked for a razor yesterday and he had shaved himself, and today there was a faint color in his cheeks. A faint color in his cheeks means that now he was getting, since he was getting better, so that pale color was going away from his cheeks, and they were turning red. I'm well, he said joyously. Sadao drew his kimono round his very body. He could not, he decided suddenly, go through another night. It was not that he cared for this young man's life. No, simply it was not worth the strain. He had spent already 3 restless nights. He was so tensed, he was so frightened, he was so afraid, and now he said that he couldn't bear another night, another restless night like that. So he said that I have to do something about this man. You are well, Sadao agreed. He lowered his voice. You are so well that I think if I put my boat on the shore tonight with food and extra clothing in it, you might be able to row to that little island not far from the coast. So he says that you're perfectly all right, and if I just put some clothes and some food in a boat, and then you would be able to row to the island, which is just nearby, and it is so near the coast that it has not been worth fortifying. It is very near the coast, so that is why it is not there is nobody to protect that, to guard that island. Nobody lives on it, and it is uninhabited. Why? Because in the storm it is submerged. But this is not the season of storm. You could live there until you saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. They pass quite near the island because the water is many fathoms deep there. Says you have to wait. You have to stay there till you see a Korean fishing boat. Okay, and the moment you see the Korean fishing boat, you have to request them and you have to go with them, because Korean fishing boats, they pass near that island quite frequently. Why? Because the water is many fathoms deep there. Have you ever heard of this term fathom, this word fathom? You must have. Can anyone tell me the meaning of fathom? You've read it in The Rime of the Ancient Mariner in your 9th or 10th class. 10th class, I guess. What is fathom? Yes, Kushpreet. Kushpreet, what is fathom?
The measure of 6 feet.
Yes, it is the 6 feet in terms of depth. The young man stared at him, slowly comprehending, do I have to? So he could understand what Sadao was wanting him to do. Do I have to? But he was afraid. He was afraid to venture out of the house because he was in an alien land, and in fact in an enemy country. I think so, Sadao said gently. You understand it is not hidden that you are here. Our servants know it, and soon this would be disclosed, this would come out, and then it would endanger everybody's life. My life, my children's future, everything is going to be at stake because of you. The young man nodded in perfect comprehension. Okay, he said simply. Sadao did not see him again until evening. As soon as it was dark, he had dragged the stout boat Stout means a very strong and a thick boat, down to the shore, and in it he put food and bottled water that he had bought secretly during the day, as well as 2 quails he had bought at a, he got 2 quails for him, food, clothing, bottle, water, and everything he put into that boat. The boat he tied to a post in the water, for the tide was high. It was a time of high tide, so he tied it to a post. There was no moon, and he walked without a flashlight, because if he put on the flashlight, then that would attract people, and it could be dangerous for him. When he came to the house, he entered as though he was just back from his work, and so Hannah knew nothing. Yumi was here today, she said. Yumi, as you know, was the nanny of the children, and she just said that as she served his supper, though she was very modern. Who is she here? We're talking about Hannah. Still, she did not eat with him. Yumi cried over the baby. She went on with a sigh. She misses him so, because she's the one who was taking care of the baby for a long time, and now she's missing the baby. And Sadao just reassured her, and he just said, the servants will come back as soon as the foreigner is gone. He went into the guest room that night before he went to bed himself, and checked carefully the American's temperature, the state of his wound, his heart and pulse. The pulse was irregular. And why was the pulse irregular? It was because of the excitement, the tension that was there in his mind, because he was going to go from Sadao's house. The young man's pale lips were pressed together and his eyes burned. Only the scars on his neck were red. I realize you are saving my life again, he said. He told Sadao. Not at all, Sadao said. It is only inconvenient. He says, I don't have anything to do with you. I don't have any emotional attachment with you. I'm not getting sentimental. But you know that it is inconvenient to have you here any longer. You know, it is not good for us to have you here in our house any longer. Okay, so let me see if I have the next page. He had hesitated a good deal about giving the man a flashlight, but he had decided to give it to him after all. It was a small one, his own, which he used at night when he was called. So he had only one flashlight, and initially he hesitated, he was reluctant to give it to the man, but then he decided that he should, so he gave it to him. If your food runs out before you catch a boat, signal me 2 flashes at the same instant the sun drops over the horizon. So the moment it is the time of sunset, and if you run short of food, then you just signal me with 2 flashes of the flashlight. Do not signal in darkness, for it will be seen. So these are the instructions that he gives to the man. If you're all right, but you're still there, then at the same time, when the sun is about to set, then you signal me once. You will find fresh fish easy to catch, but you must eat them raw, because if you try to cook them over fire, then fire would be seen, and it would be dangerous. Okay, the young man breathed. He was dressed now in the Japanese clothes which Sadao had given him, and at the last moment, Sadao wrapped a black cloth about his blonde head. So because, he didn't want that anybody should recognize that man, he just tried and he wrapped a black cloth above his head. Now, Sadao said. The young American, without a word, shook Sadao's hand warmly and then walked quite well across the floor and down the step into the darkness of the garden. Once, twice, Sadao saw his light flash to find his way. But that would not be suspected. He knew it that this 1 or 2 flashes of light would not be suspected. So he waited until from the shore there was there was just 1 more flash. Then he closed the partition, and that night he slept peacefully. Okay, and this is what he did. He helped the man escape from there. Okay, we have 1 minute, so we'll do 1 more paragraph of this chapter. Let me see. You say the man escaped, the general asked. So next time he met the general, because the general was not feeling well and he had to be operated upon, he said, the general asked him faintly, and when Sadao told him that the man had escaped, he had been operated upon a week before, an emergency operation to which Sadao had been called in the night. For 12 hours, okay, I'll just stop it here.